How are you? My name is Half. I run Split Mind, which is a production publishing company, and Drumify.com, a sounds marketplace for musicians to buy and sell amongst each other. I want to give you 7 habits that I've noticed from successful producers and a little background on me. I have signed and scaled some of the most prolific producers of the last 5 to 10 years. Trigger warning, I don't want to trigger any musicians, but let's talk about having a job versus not having a job. Bear with me. The music industry expects you to show up for years with the hope of being paid. When you finally break through, it's often been 3 to 7 years of no pay. And if you didn't have a job, your life was significantly harder because of it. And that's not always a bad thing. But what I talk about today explains the core benefits of a job early on in your career. I'm not sitting here on this video to tell you that in order for you to be successful, you need a job. That's not my point. But what I want to do is highlight the pros and the cons of each side. Number one, jobs create drive because they suck. When you have a job, the moment you get off of work, you are so motivated and disciplined to make the most of your free time to work towards your career because you know that tomorrow you got to get right back into that 9 to 5 grind. This means that you procrastinate less, you make more of the time that you have, and you also are getting things done faster. The con is that you no longer have unlimited free time. However, when you have unlimited free time, you typically don't spend it as great as you could have. The next thing is you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Crazy, right? But really, for many years to come, while you're still trying to get music to create income for you, livable income, you'll still get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and that is going to allow you to reinvest, take care of basic needs, get your parents off your ass, which is another con, by the way. When you don't have a job, when you're not going to school, when you're solely focused on music, your parents are going to wonder, what the hell is my kid doing? And that's going to strain the relationship because if you don't make money, most likely you live at your parents' house. The next thing is access to capital for investments. As I had mentioned, you can upgrade your studio, you can travel for music, you can pay for education, you can buy plugins, you can take care of your health, which when you're 18, 19, 20, basically can do anything, eat anything, and feel amazing all the time. That does change. I just want you to know that. So the con is that if you don't have a job, if you don't have any other ways of making money besides music, early on, you probably have no money to do anything. You're eating like crap. You aren't investing back into your career. And honestly, your quality of life is kind of trash. The next one is you operate on a weekly schedule. When you have a job, you look at the calendar, you got to work X amount of days. Okay, great. You start figuring out how you're going to spend your free time in the most optimal way possible. Next thing is, dude, you want to go on dates, you want to experience a love life, but you probably can't do that if you don't have any money. And then, of course, food. If you're, in your teens, you could pretty much eat trash and be fine. But as you get older, you want to eat higher quality foods because it actually is going to affect the energy levels you have throughout the day. And the con is just quality of life. So as you're not experiencing these things, you're not going on dates maybe, you don't have any money, you don't have a car, you can't do anything, you don't talk to anybody, your self-esteem is gonna go way down. It's not gonna happen overnight, but if you're locked in your room like I was for several years, you actually start to lose your ability to communicate with people because it's a muscle. And if you're not using it every day, it goes away. Going from interfacing with people every day to then not having a job and then seeing nobody for the next couple of years impacted my ability to communicate in the studio, communicate with people in general, and I just didn't realize it. And so here's the last pro. You pay all your bills every month. The con is you have credit card debt piling up. I've been on both spectrums of this. I have not paid for credit cards, gotten into collections, paid it off. I've ignored phone calls of you need to pay your bill, you need to pay your bill, you need to pay your bill. And then I've been the guy who just pays all his bills every month and doesn't have to worry about it. And it allows me to have immense amounts of focus. When you cannot pay all your bills every month, whether you realize it or not, all the phone calls and the texts and the email reminders and your parents on your ass, it stresses you out. That being said, not the end of the world. It's just a habit that I've noticed from successful people. You don't have to have a job, but what I have noticed is the people who accept that for the first year, they're not going to make any money from music. They go, okay, let me take some of the free time I would have had anyways, generate some income, pay my bills, further invest back into my career. And that way I'll have a better quality of life. I'll be in a better mood. I'll be more focused on my career, and I'll make more use of my limited time. Which gets me into my next point. Believe it or not, having unlimited free time to work towards your dreams sounds great in theory. You wake up, you get to pour all of your effort into it, except that after your motivation wears off, you're left with discipline alone to get things done. Having 16 hours a day to work makes it very easy to procrastinate. When you have all the time in the world to get something done, you will typically wait until the last moment to do it. When you only have a couple of hours, you will work on it right then. And until you have set up systems and built the discipline to work on things as they need to get done, you will probably procrastinate. Making music full time is fun, but you have to treat it like a job, and you're going to have to do things you don't necessarily want to do in order to scale. And I have an awesome slideshow at the bottom of this video that you will see, so stay tuned. Next one is no content equals less opportunities, and I want to talk about digital products as well because they're very hand in hand. Each segment of this is hand in hand. No content equals less opportunities. Content is not about being a content creator. It's about reminding people you exist and or showing people how good you are at something. Everyone is chronically online in today's world, including celebrities. You have a chance for artists to discover you from your content alone, and it can be made anywhere. We've done it dozens, if not hundreds of times. Where people lose is once they look at content as a negative rather than a vehicle to create more opportunities in a very noisy world. It changes lives, creates fans if done right, and allows you to monetize and not be reliant on just songs releasing. It's been a few weeks now. Juice Coos, who is a producer on the team who I've been working with for many years, super talented. I'm sure you've seen him online. He just had a song with Yeet come out, and he had SZA comment on his reel saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing. I want to work with you." And he has hundreds of examples of that. The song with Yeet just came out. Yeet saw his reel, sent it to his producer worked on it, and then the song came out a month later. That's the power of content. SZA made a song to Juice's loop. They're in communication. That may or may not come out. Who knows? The point is his opportunities are increasing, and people get to see how good he is at something, and he's popping up on feeds. Content is just a vehicle to create more opportunities, to me. If you posted a piece of content once or twice a week and got 500 views each time, that would amount to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views by the end of the year, because assuming you've done that, you'll have 52 to 104 or 300 pieces of content, and you're going to get better with each video. You're also going to get exposed to new people, and there's such a higher likelihood that one of your videos blows up if you're posting at that rate and capacity. Most people, unfortunately, do content for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then that fourth, fifth, sixth week is really where the challenge comes in, because you're not necessarily as motivated, the discipline is harder to find, and maybe the videos aren't doing as well as you thought. And so people kind of give up, and then they go back and they take an 8-week break, and then they come back and do 6 weeks and then 8-week break. And that's why they never get consistent growth, because you're not just actively working on the thing and you're thinking, oh man, my video didn't get 10,000 views, but each one was getting 500 views each time, and now nobody sees your stuff. That's how I look at content, and it really is a game changer. The next piece, I'll go into pros and cons after, is digital products create freedom. So in my last video, I talk about content and digital products, which you should 100% go watch that video. The reception has been so great. I really appreciate you guys. Digital products allow you to get out of the grind of trading your time for money. As technology has evolved over the last 10 years, so have the opportunities to turn your skill set into a digitized product that can be sold unlimited times to millions of people. And one of the best pieces of advice I got early on is if your business shuts down once you go to bed, you're in trouble. Now, what that means is if you go to bed and now the only way people could get in contact with you is via DMs, or they could only buy things from you with DMs, then your business just shut down, and that's a problem. The reason why I love digital products and content and websites is they run 24/7, 7 days a week, serve every time zone in the world. Someone can purchase your product and get access to it all without having to speak to you. That means you can wake up and make money in your sleep and go, wow, I just made $100 and it's 7 a.m. When you pair content with strong CTAs, call to action, you create the potential to change your life forever. The price, your margins, the customer type, the average order value, all are things to consider once you jump in. You don't need to make $1 million to live a good life this way, but of course it is a bonus. And so let's get into the pros and cons of this. You build an audience that cares, first and foremost, when you're posting content. The con, if you're not doing this, people usually don't respond to your DMs because you don't have a following, your mutual following sucks, and you don't post on the internet anyways. Pro, websites and content work 24/7, 7 days a week. So as you go to bed, these things still work. When you sleep, if you don't do these things, so does your business. That means that you really only have 12 to 16 hours of operating time as a business. Number 3, your earning potential is much higher. The cons, if you don't do this, if you have a job, you only make X amount of money per hour. So I used to work at a place, I was making $7.50 an hour. I could only make $50 or something a day after tax. Number 4, digital products can be sold infinitely. And here's the con. If you don't have one, you're trading your time for money, and there's a cap on how much time that you have. So a lot of people are in the service business without realizing that they are in the service business. That is problematic depending on your goals, unless you are charging so much money that the service is worth it. But most people have a pricing issue. They're priced way too low, and they are giving too much of their time for the service that they are providing. Digital products, you could sell it 50 times in a day at $30. We've done this a bajillion times. You just wake up, make money. You haven't actually had to interface with anybody, but you did have to make content. You did have to build a website, which I have a really cool product I want to show you guys in a second. Number 5, artists discover you and reach out. So artists are just as hooked on their phone as you are. Everybody's hooked on their phone. It's just too good. So as you're posting more content, that means more people that you're desperately trying to figure out how to get in contact with are just on Instagram for free. Number 5, this is the con of if you're not posting. Music sits on your hard drive. Most people think that the solution to their problems is, I'm going to go make more beats today. And then they have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 beats on their laptop. They have 3 placements, which if you just do math on that, what's the percentage of success at that point? It's less than 1%. It's like 0.1% success rate. And I know that's a very granular, businessy way to look at it, but it's okay to treat your business like a business and think about the numbers and know, is this the best use of my time? When you put content and digital products together, you have a crazy opportunity. Now, that being said, I have been working on a really special product for a little bit. We created Link, which is the easiest website you could ever create. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to sign up for your website, be able to customize it in real time. We optimized it for mobile. That means that it's going to look great when someone clicks the link in your bio on Instagram. You have a dashboard to see your sales. You get paid out whenever you want. You just have to withdraw it. There's a products page, an orders page, a discounts page, and a customized page. The customized page we kept extremely simple on purpose. You get to show what you want to show. It's like Linktree and Shopify had a baby together. And you can also upload your audio files and your zip files all within the product. You don't have to go set up any sort of external third-party storage platform. All of this right now for $30 a month, which is insane. It's cheaper than other platforms. It looks better than other platforms. And right now, the early adopters of our platform are very much influential on what we build next with it. If you want a website that you can set up within 5 minutes that looks beautiful, go to drumify.com/link. No pun intended. We are a small company trying to give producers more tools to be successful in the music industry. That is a mission of mine, and it's really important to me. Habit number 5, the ignorance gap. You don't know what to do, or if what you're focused on is the best use of your time. There's just no clear roadmap in the music industry. You can't go look at someone and go, okay, great, I just need to do X, Y, Z, and then I'll be successful. Climbing the ladder in the music industry has no one path, but it's filled with a ton of chaos. Nobody is on a schedule because you're all creative, and that's just the creative brain. Everyone works late nights, and people cancel or flake last minute every single day, no matter what level you're at. It almost feels like a rite of passage. Unlike a common career path where everything is laid out for you and getting to the next level is very clear. Show up to work, do a good job, be friendly, make more money, make more sales. Mentorship from the right people will save you years of pain, money, and even bring more opportunity. And that's essentially what SplitMind has been for the producers on the team for years. I brought relationships that I had for my own career, resources, studios, websites, experiences, and then knowledge. Much of what I brought to them came from my own trial and error, which I could then directly apply to their career. Lastly, and this is one of the most valuable skills you can acquire as an entrepreneur, is knowing when you've hit a wall and being able to pivot immediately. Ignoring this sunk cost fallacy, but not giving up on things too early. Sunk cost fallacy is, oh, well, I've already been working on this thing for 5 years. I can't give up yet, but maybe the thing isn't working and you should just give up and move on. But at the same time, you don't want to give up on things too early. So it's this really hard balance of knowing when to pivot, and it's sort of a gut instinct. You just know when you know. But pivoting is one of the most valuable things you can have in any business. Habit number 6. Finally, after years of grinding it out, you land your first record. Big moment, you're hyped. It's a surreal feeling. The label reaches out to send you terms on email, hopefully. They offer publishing, master points, and an advance. You know nothing about what it really means. You just assume it's going to pay you a lot of money because you're working with a celebrity artist who makes a lot of money. But also, you don't know how to collect your money. You don't have an entertainment lawyer. You don't know how to register your publishing, how to collect your advance, if any, and you don't know how to collect your master royalty points. You never end up getting paid. You charge it to the game, and then you make a story post talking shit, and then you move on. This is 95% of music producers. The differentiator between producers who reach the top versus the producers who stay broke and frustrated are the ones who treat this like a job instead of a hobby, meaning that the people who are successful, they treat music like a job. You must find a good entertainment lawyer, a good manager, business partner, and surround yourself with a great team. It's one of the hardest aspects of the music industry to get right, but it is the force multiplier for a big career. And I want to make it very clear. If you have nothing going on, you don't need a lawyer, you don't need a manager, you don't need a team. You just need to put your head down, lock in, and accept that no other person is the solution to your problems. It's the work that you're avoiding. That is the solution to your problems. I want to make that really clear. Now let's go through the pros and cons. What are the pros of having a mentor? You learn from their mistakes. That's a big one. I save people lots of time, lots of money by showing them what not to do. Trial and error can waste time. If you don't have a mentor, that means you just have to try things and you're going to fail at things. And that does waste a lot of time. It gives you valuable insight. You should look at it as data rather than failure. But still, it takes a lot of time to learn and fail. And so having a mentor is going to help you learn from those mistakes. Number 2, pros. Faster mastery and confidence boost. When you have a mentor helping you out who's more successful, it gives you a confidence boost. You feel secure and you're going to learn things faster. They're going to show you all the things and tips and tricks that they know. Number 2, this is a potential con of having a mentor. You do risk having a biased perspective. So everybody is biased, and ultimately that's for better or for worse when you are dealing with mentorship. Number 3, pros. Guided structure accelerates progress. This is kind of 1 and 2 put together. You're learning from mistakes. They're going to help you get on the right path so that you're not wasting any time, which is going to hyper accelerate your progress because you don't have to go through the trial and error phase. Number 3, and I don't really see this so much as a con, but it can be to some people. You either have potential fees or opportunity costs. When people would sign a split mind, they were agreeing to give me a part of their career in exchange for my resource knowledge, yada, yada, yada. I'd rather have 10% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. The idea is I'd rather have a small share of Amazon where Jeff Bezos owns 13%, but it's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, than own 100% of something and it's just not worth anything. There are costs you have to accept and give up in life. Number 4, your earning potential increases. When you don't have to learn from your mistakes, when you have faster mastery and you have guided structure, that means you're going to make way more money way faster. And I have helped my guys do this so many different ways through earning potential. Number 4, risk of gaps in knowledge or bad habits. If you don't have a mentor, you do risk having gaps in knowledge. So that's the ignorance gap of just not knowing things. Can't really get around that without trial and error. Or developing bad habits. Just like how you develop good habits, working out, going to the gym, XYZ, you also develop bad habits. Maybe looking at things you shouldn't look at online, or eating bad food, or doom scrolling. Number 5, pros, a huge one. Accountability and feedback loops. I am such a believer in having somebody who is more successful than you, hold you accountable, who's going to be able to call you out on your bullshit that you know and can trust because they are more successful than you. And also that feedback loop is so valuable. One of my favorite people to work with in my life has been Steven Schaefer. And I'm sure you know him, super successful. He's crushing it. He will always shoot an idea over to me and we'll just talk about it. And he does that with me. I'm sure he does it with other people, but it has allowed him to get such quick feedback loops on ideas and execution. So to have that level of emotional intelligence and to accept I don't have the answers and I'm going to seek it from other people, truly, truly a game changer. Con, possible over-reliance hindering independence. So if you do have a mentor, the con is that you could over-rely on them to solve all your problems, which is going to hinder your independence. And I've dealt with this too on the team. People signed to the team in the past, think that they don't have to do the work now, or I'm going to magically clap my hands and the world's going to fall into their lap. But you still got to do the work. And in fact, when you sign, you got to work even harder. It's just that now you have guided structure and it's going to accelerate your progress. That is the power of mentors. Real quick, I want to talk about my producer community on school.com. As of today, it is the number 5 community in all of music, which is mind-blowing. I am actively trying to get to number 1, and I'm looking for serious producers who want actual advice and help in their career to join. I have over 60 members at this point from across the globe. School's been one of the most fun things I've done in a long time. So much so that I bought a hat about school. If you are a producer who's looking to save time and not learn things the hard way, go to my school community, check it out. I am so close to winning the school games, which means I'll get to go to school headquarters, hang out with Alex Ramosi, and also win a trophy. I've helped tons of producers. And even right now, there's a producer who joined my community a year ago, who this week right now got flown to LA, is in the studio with one of the biggest artists in the world that wants to sign him. And he texted me and said, bro, thank you so much for this community. It has single-handedly changed my life. And you'd be surprised at his age as well. The first 10 people who join from this video and DM me will get a private feedback session. Habit number 7, cash flow times burn rate is the lifetime of your dream. Cash flow, if you don't know, is money in the account each month. Burn rate is the money out of your account. Here's the hard truth. Chasing a dream while broke for years breaks most people. I have seen it over and over again. Some of my dearest producer friends have put this to the side or given up, and it's really sad when they do it. But I understand, because you get to a certain point and you ask yourself, is this even worth the stress and the financial hardships this is putting me through? When you factor in the amount of time you could have spent at a job making money, it's especially hard. The upside is having the potential to make 100x what a job pays you and the freedom to live how you please. And now you might be 17 watching this video, or 25 or 35, whatever. Your life at 17, 18 is so much different versus 25, 26, 27. You might not want to get married or buy a house right now, but there's a really good chance that by 25, your peers have bought houses, have great paying jobs, gotten married, maybe even have children, and have saved up a lot of money, while you're still spinning the wheels, going, why me? How come this isn't working yet? Paying attention to how much money you earn a month, but especially paying attention to how much money you spend. My companies have generated several $1,000,000 in gross revenue. And I can tell you one of the biggest downfalls was my spending. I want to run you through a super quick highlight of my life just to hopefully inspire some people to document their journey, because I really wish I had taken more photos earlier on in my career, but I was embarrassed, so I didn't do it. And two, to show you compounding sacrifice and what that looks like for many people who can just grit their teeth. In 2014, 2015, I was working out of a treehouse, literally, with rappers. And I was just trying to figure it out. And I was from my hometown, Vacaville, California. I'm sure you've never heard of it. In 2016, this is when I quit my job to go pro. I made my first 5K off of music that month, and I was like, this is it. I think it was like $7,800. My checks every 2 weeks are $1,200. This is a no-brainer. I got to quit this and go full time. Fast forward to 2017. I was sleeping in Dad's living room. I was paying $650 a month just to have a place to sleep. I was really grateful for this. I was also sleeping in studios and even my car right before this. I just don't have any pictures from that, unfortunately. This is me in 2018. I was paying $400, $450 a month, sleeping on a kitchen floor. So the refrigerator was right there, and people throughout the day, because I live with 5 people, would open that refrigerator. It'd wake me up. It smelled horrible. But funny enough, I was actually grateful to be here, because right before this, I was back to sleeping in my car. And if you've never slept in your car for long periods of time, it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak. So I was actually insanely grateful. And this is why I took a video at the time, because I knew that later on I'd look back and be like, this was worth it. Fast forward to 2019, I had a decision to make. I could keep paying for an apartment, or I could move into the studio where I'd be spending every single dollar I made, but I could live in it and I could work out of it, and it would change my life. This is when Based One and Benny X and Pilgrim and Duke Clay and a bunch of other people were on the team. This was a really good time. And I used to take off the couch things, as you can see, use them to sleep. It was pretty bad. There's a mat that I used to bring with me everywhere. I would just throw it under my bed and sleep, and it really did make a difference. But I was spending $2,500, $3,000 a month, all of my money gone, and I just didn't care. I was grateful for the opportunity. Now, 2020 is basically non-existent because of COVID, so we're just going to write off that year. In 2021, I partnered on a recording studio, and the rent was $10,000-ish a month. I probably was spending $12,500, $13,000 a month on this place, but I had access to 11 studios. It was crazy. Had Tory Lanez pull up and record the last part of his album there. Lots of great, awesome things happened from that, and it costed more capital. Then, when I was actually about to give this studio up, Sony reached out to me. Shout out to Adrian Nunez and Jason Daliano. They offered me an admin deal for $135,000 all up front. And I was about to give up my studio. This has got to be a sign. I don't think it was a sign, but it gave me more cash to just keep the studio alive. And later on that year, I did decide this is probably too much money. I don't know if I need to be spending $10,000 a month. Then in 2023, I moved into my house in Beverly Hills, which was amazing. And the rent is, I'm not even going to disclose that. It was a lot. In 4 years, I went from living out of my studio using an IKEA couch as the bed to living in Beverly Hills, 90210, in the nicest part of Beverly Hills. 2024, I finally ordered a few of our plaques. For the longest time, I didn't want to order these, but I recognized it was valuable for me to see everything that I had accomplished. They're actually behind me. And so that's what I did. I ordered these plaques. The only thing I don't like about it is that they cost about $500 each. And I have, I don't know, 10 or 20 more to order that, of course, I want to order, but I also don't feel like spending $5 to $10,000 to look at things that I've done. Some of those songs may or may not even made me $500. I'm sure they have, but you know what I mean. To now, where I am traveling abroad for the first time. So I bought my passport in 2017 and then I never used it. And I just stayed in LA. And I mean, you saw some of the trend of my life. I wasn't really in a position to travel anywhere. I could barely stay in LA. Now I just spent 2 months in Japan, life changing. Part of my soul has been left in Japan. And I'm going to Thailand next month to link up with some producers and even entrepreneurs. But I want to talk a little bit more about sacrifice. Most people who watch this probably are not willing to sacrifice comfort for long periods of time to have an exceptional life. And I understand. But the skills I've acquired and the mentality that I've developed, the life I have experienced all before 30, have truly made me rich in so many ways. Money is just the bonus for getting lucky because I'm lucky and I recognize that. One of the best quotes I've seen in the last couple of years is a hard life now creates an easy life later, and an easy life now creates a hard life later. So many people are stuck on their phones, don't want to do the hard work, don't want to sacrifice, aren't willing to maybe sleep on somebody's couch, and they're going to end up living probably a hard life later. And I hope that's not the case. Generally speaking, people who choose easy life now when you have the most opportunity and you can give up the most risk, you're probably going to have a hard life. And so these are 7 habits I have noticed of successful producers and maybe even just people in general. Having a job early on, gritting your teeth, accepting the capital is going to allow you to further invest into your career, give you more opportunities. Having unlimited free time early on is probably not the best because you don't have enough on your plate yet to really justify having 16 hours a day on this, unless you're just a beast. And there are some people like that. Content. Why aren't you posting content? It doesn't even make sense at this point. If you're not posting content, you're in your own way. Digital products. It's not going to be for everybody. I understand that. But for some people, it's going to be a life-changing thing for them where they can make $500, $1,000, $10,000 a month. I was 19 years old when I started doing digital products and I was making $10,000 to $15,000 a month living at my parents' house. Changed my life. Mentors and music business education. Most people don't accept that if they spent a little money or they signed a deal or did XYZ, that they would actually get to where they want to go faster, having spent less money and on a path to accelerate their progress because they sought out mentorship and they learned the music business to some extent, or they outsourced it to somebody. And the cash flow, man. People, is it easier to save $1,000 or is it easier to make $1,000? It's so much easier to save $1,000 a month than it is to make an extra $1,000 a month. Sounds obvious. Most people don't do it. I was one of those people, but here you go. This is my life at a glance, the habits of successful producers that I have seen. And this doesn't cover even a fraction of everything that I have undergone to be where I am today. But I do hope that it helps inspire you to embrace a little bit of the shitty times to get to a better life down the road. I am beyond fortunate to live the life that I live. It is truly a dream. Honestly, I get to work with amazing producers. I get to make money online. I get royalty checks every quarter. I am so fortunate, and I'm 29 years old now. When I was 18, 17, that was my goal. That was my dream. So I have achieved my dreams all before 30 years old. Doesn't mean that I'm satisfied, but I'm happy with where I am today. And I share this with you because I don't see this kind of content online and I don't see this kind of transparency from people. And I want to change that. So I hope that this video was helpful. I just used to dream of these days. And I hope that down the line, one of you guys will have watched this video and it will have changed your life forever. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Please leave a like and a comment below if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing and comment if you want to see a video in the future. So thank you so much. Take care.